Hi, Father Fish here. I've got some news that's really important. We've been developing for the last year and a half a program here on YouTube that encourages aquarium fish keepers to create a substrate that's at least 3 inches deep. We've recommended an inch of soil and 2 inches of sand. That recommendation is still in place, but we have found something that we've been working on now for about a month that is profoundly exciting, that adds substantially to what we're trying to achieve with the deep substrate. And it's called the food web. You can get information about the food web by looking up soil food web on YouTube. Dr. Elaine Ingham is one of the founders of this system of organic gardening that has application to major industrial farming practices. We're looking for ways to bring this into the aquarium. What does this mean? Well, it means, let me try it this way. Let's think about food web. What is your food web? What is the natural process of food in your aquarium? Sadly, and I might add tragically, for most aquarists, for most fish keeper, their food web does not extend beyond opening a can of food, pouring some into their hand, and sprinkling it into the tank. The food web is the fish keeper and the fish. The fish keeper feeds the food, the fish eat the food, the fish keeper then removes excess food and waste from the tank, and that's the web. Well, let me suggest to you that that is not a web. That is a sewage system. Nothing more, nothing less. It is not dependent upon any kind of life other than the continued life of the fish, which is likely constrained by the very practices above. All right, so what is a food web? Let me show you a picture. Here is an example of a food web. This is a food web occurring in soil. Here's the soil up here. This is organic matter. Organic matter is, mulch, for example. We use a lot of peat moss and potting soil and compost in our soil base. So that would be part of the organic matter. Recently, we have been recommending the addition of leaf litter, emulsified leaf litter, or at least leaf litter gathered from an aquatic environment. That all becomes part of the organic matter. What happens to this? Let's look at the arrows. It goes to fungi. Fungi consume organic matter here and through the roots of plants here. This goes both ways. Notice that there is product returned to the plants by the fungi. The organic matter goes to fungi. It also goes to bacteria. Bacteria break down organic matter, some of which is consumed by protozoa, some by nematodes, and some by arthropods. Now, the reality is that the protozoa is consumed not only by nematodes, but also by arthropods, which are then consumed by the apex predators, in our case, the fish and shrimp and whatever other dominant characters we have living in our aquarium. So here's the idea. What we're doing then is what we're talking about is creating a food web in your aquarium. A food web beginning with fungus and bacteria that feed two kingdoms. They feed plants and they feed animals. They feed protozoan and they feed plants. Two different kingdoms, two different directions in which this goes. The maintenance of this system is a function of each of the levels, each of the groups of critters being controlled by a consequential group, so that the bacteria are controlled by protozoan and by arthropods and by nematodes, which are then controlled by fish, by larger nematodes, larger arthropods, and so forth. So the apex predator in your tank is the fish. What is that fish feeding on? Well, it's feeding on the life that is created by virtue of the organic matter in your tank, creating a fungal and a bacteria environment that provides nutrition for protozoan, for nematodes, and for arthropods. They are then consumed by larger nematodes, larger arthropods, which are consumed by your fish. So when you see a fish, for example, pecking around on the bottom of your tank, what is it looking for? It's looking for these. It's looking for arthropods, nematodes, in other words, the insects that are growing and feeding on the smaller microscopic life in your tank, all of which derives from the breakdown of organic matter like fungi and bacteria. So that's the food web. The question then is, how do we apply that? How do we get that started and make that work in an aquarium? And that's precisely what we're working on. We don't have all the answers yet, but we're working on it. Now, when I say we, who am I talking about? Well, it's a very known quantity. A number of people who are on our Discord channel, and I will post the link below. You are all welcome to come join in the conversation. This is going to be a remarkable breakthrough in the tropical fish hobby. What it's going to make it possible to achieve is a genuinely balanced aquarium in which your fish will be living in an environment in which the only food you give them is the leaves of trees. The leaves of trees or other humic organic matter, little pieces of wood, mulch, soft driftwood, peat moss. What else? Organic substances from your garden. You'll actually be able to feed your fish by feeding your tank and be able to grow two kingdoms of animals, plants and animals. in this same system, this same web, will nurture both. So come on along and join us. Be a part of this incredible conversation that's going to change the way everyone keeps their tropical fish. I guarantee you. Imagine it. Just imagine it. Come on along and join the conversation. Pay attention to this food web and look up soil food web, especially Dr. Elaine Ingram. Her name's here. You can find it on YouTube, Soil Food Web, Dr. Elaine Ingram. There's a wealth of information there, none of which has been interpreted yet for aquariums, for aquatic environments. There is some research going on elsewhere in the field of examining the health of aquatic environments based on a food web. You can find that as well. We've got a lot of that posted that we're working on over on Discord. So by all means, join us. The link is below. Take care for now. We're going to do something remarkable here. Hang in. Be a part of it. Come on along. Let's join hands together and move forward in creating an aquarium that is genuinely self-sustaining. Bye for now. Father Fish signing off.